Speaking of chaos sitting behind the scenes, we actually Ronan McLaughlin's just shown up. Just a little bit chaotic here.
Okay.
No, there's an actual segue here. There's an actual segue because what we want to talk about with you, Ronan. Actually, you're gonna hang out for the rest of the show, I believe. But what we want to talk about with you is the Jasper Philipsen crash from the middle of this week. So we're gonna get to our Milan-San Remo preview later in the show. But one of the other news items was that this week Philipsen went down, and you had a little anecdote for us to maybe illustrate the problem here, or how this can happen, or what the motivations potentially were.
Well, having just popped into the middle of the previous conversation you just had, I could have had a few anecdotes about that also, based on the same experiences where, quite often the mentality in these teams is that if you make them angry, they perform better, which kind of proven not to be true. But the anecdote that you're specifically referencing there is, so Philipsen is defending champion Milan-San Remo and was riding Nokere Koerse yesterday, which is a 1.1 in Belgium, and not typically the type of race that would inspire a Milan-San Remo winner, let's say. And the question came up in our Slack: what was he even doing in this? What is usually a race that features quite a few crashes in the finish? 3 or 4 days out from what's presumably a major season objective. And I sort of popped in with, just sort of explaining that this is the kind of, that the fact that he was there did not surprise me at all, because throughout the 6 years that I spent racing in Belgium, the one thing that was like driven into us time and time again was, if you had a major race that you were preparing for on the Sunday, the way to best get ready for that was to either race a big race on the Wednesday or do a big training day, because otherwise you would, there was some idea that you would lose fitness or you'd be stale come the weekend or something. And just like the idea that the 30,000 kilometers you'd done in the past 12 months would disappear in 3 days if you didn't do a massive effort on the Wednesday. The example, well, sorry, I'm monologuing now. I'll let you jump in.
No, carry
on.
I want to hear the rest of the story.
Yeah.
The example I give was when I did the Elite World Championships, which was like a week after I finished Tour of Britain. So I think I finished the Tour of Britain on the Sunday. That was 8 days of racing. I had the Elite Worlds the following Sunday, which is like the biggest moment of my cycling in inverted commas career. And my team manager insisted that I did this similar to Nokere Koerse 1.1 in Belgium in midweek, because otherwise I think the suggestion was that I would implode or something at the Worlds if I didn't race this random 1.1.
This is the Omloop van het Houtland, yes, Ronan?
Yes.
That's PCS too.
Remember.
Put that
I don't PCS Ronan enough.
I love to PCS Ronan.
Yeah.
And that was that Omloop van het Hagland or whatever it was.
Houtland.
There is another Houtland. Okay, there is a Hagland as well. They're all Omloops.
Hagland's a women's race around
it. That was probably the most nervous 4 hours of my entire season that year, because the idea of just like crashing, it shouldn't have been in my head. Admittedly, that you shouldn't be thinking that way, and that was probably one of the many differences between me and the world's best. But nevertheless, if we're going to be realistic about this, riding that race 4 days before the Worlds wasn't really going to change my performance in the Worlds, and it also was just adding unnecessary risk. And it's kind of the exact same thing for Philipsen yesterday. Did he need to win Nokere Koerse to make or break his season? No. Would he have performed well on Saturday in Milan-San Remo anyway, had he not? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say he probably would perform even better if he didn't do Nokere Koerse.
Yeah, or just went out and did some motor pacing or something like that. Well, Dane, you wrote the story about the original crash, the Philipsen crash at Nokere Koerse in the middle of the week. Sounds like news broke Thursday morning. Or not broke, but we got a little update Thursday morning on his condition and whether he can race this weekend. So what's the latest?
Yeah, he has said that he's fit enough to race. He's not. I mean, it's up to time will tell whether he's actually going to be able to really do what he should be doing in this race. But he says he's going to be able to race. He's going to be able to start, and he feels like he's going to be able to play a role. I mean, we're going to have to see what that means. but it doesn't appear he's going to miss the race as was the initial fear. Because I mean, when he went down, you could see him on the ground, clearly in pain. It took him a second to get up. He had help from medical staff, and he was just like not
an
looking
ambulance,
good.
didn't he?
He did leave it in an ambulance. I mean, he wasn't. Apparently, there was nothing broken, and
He got into the ambulance himself.
yeah, I was trying to figure out a way to word that, Johnny. It wasn't like he needed to be loaded or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently he's going to start the race. We'll see how fit he is.
Right. I mean, the reason why we tied these two things together is they're both just kind of examples of cycling being kind of funny and backwards, right? And that there's a lot of things from the old school mindset of bike racing that are probably should go away. At the same time, you're like, okay, well, big names racing this 1.1 in the middle of the week. It's great for that race, right? So all these things exist in balance. And if you're the organizer of Nokere Koerse, you're like, hell yeah, Philipsen's here. And if those big riders stop going to those races, it definitely harms that second
Perhaps
tier of pro cycling. But
perhaps with that in mind, we should say the Danilith Nokere Koerse then, because we want to get their sponsors' names in there as well. It's no good to the organizer if we just mention the race. We have to mention the sponsor.
The Danilith head honchos are always listening into Spin Cycle, so they'll appreciate that.
Counterpoint: Ronan finished that World Championships ahead of Ryder Hajjadal.
And Bradley Wiggins in the year that they won 2 of the 3 Grand Tours.
Which tells me that maybe
I won 2 of the 3 Grand Tours.
That's all that means. Yeah,
that's how it works. Yeah, easy.
Yeah.